What are you working on here?
Lunch. This is a monumentous occasion. This is the first lunch I'm gonna make and take to work because so far multiple people at work and my mother have told me to stop missing lunch because meetings tend to go long and I never get a chance to eat. So I end up eating like a bag of Doritos. So now I'm gonna have an apple and a sandwich. This is my first title as game director. First time in the chair of game director. I expected it to be hard work, but the sheer volume of work and the amount of stuff you have to carry in your head and be on about all the time is staggering. It's huge. I'm such a fucking horrible sandwich maker. This shows my true inexperience. I want to take what we started and push it 10 times further, you know, get more of the story, more of the mythology embedded in while picking up all the things that we felt, wow, we could have really done this better. All right, all set for school. You know, it's my face and my name out there that if this is bad, I'm the guy. You're the guy that fucked up God of War, you know, like that weighs heavily. I truly believe that we are putting absolutely everything we can into this thing.
First, I want to apologize for my voice. It's a little rough. I was in Phoenix yesterday watching a football game, so it'll be cracking on and off. Go Rams. Where's Ken? Ken! Anyway.
Am I scared or nervous about doing the job? Yes, terrified. But the reality, and the good fortunate thing is, only when I get a chance to think about it. I'm not given much opportunity to think about it.
We're starting to get to the point where we have a lot of stuff done, and it's going to be cool to start showing it to everybody.
For the most part in the project, I'm, kind of an information person, going to different departments and like a sponge, soak up as much information as I can so I can direct people in the proper way. It's very, very challenging. At times it can be incredibly stressful, like right now.
Let's get back to it.
It's Rita calling from Sony. In terms of our new leads in the departments, and they're rising from a senior level environment artist to an art director, from an art director to a producer, from a lead animator to a game director. It's really a testament to the level of skill that each individual brings, that they have that multifaceted background, or at least the drive to pursue something and pursue it at 110%.
So you can't jump onto the chain until you activate it. The way a game director works at Sony, you gotta have your hands in everything. Maybe much to the dismay of some of the other people, you're the quality control, you're the check to make sure that everything stays within the realm, the mythos that we've created with God of War. I'm in meetings right from when I get in, probably till about 7 or 8, sometimes later than that at night, and then I actually have other work that I have to get done, instead of just sitting around talking like a gas bag. So it sounds like I'm bitching about it, but you know what? It's not, I'm totally into it. I love it, but it's definitely bigger than I had ever imagined.
One of the biggest new elements I've had to mentally deal with is the idea that as a producer, you're essentially everyone's boss, so you do wield a considerable amount of quote-unquote power. From the creative side of things, it's probably the one thing I have to constantly put a check on. From where I came from, I was way more involved in the creative.
That's nice.
As a producer, every time I make a comment on the creative, I have to make sure that I'm cautioning it with the idea of, hey look, this is one creative mind coming to you with an opinion.
This scene is so fucked up, it doesn't, it's like, where do you start? There's a lot to be learned about just interacting with people and keeping my cool as much as I can, and not trying to offend people. Like on the last project and up until I started as an art director, I was very blunt and kind of, sometimes I might have had kind of like, a fuck it attitude. But now I have to be a lot more political about things. And it's actually like, the more I do it, the more I understand it, the more I enjoy it.
Something that we decided when we originally started the Santa Monica studio was to go for a very open plan office, so that everyone sits in an enormous room. There are very low dividers between different people's desks. We try and keep people sitting next to the people that they are directly working with. So, you know, the combat guys have most to do with the animators, so they sit next to the animators. Production's sat slap bang in the middle of the floor. They basically can see everyone moving around. Everyone is near to the production department. The programmers are all sitting next to each other, and we sit near to the technical artists because they're people that we spend an enormous amount of time communicating with. So, you know, the entire structure of the studio really aims at fostering easy communication that doesn't rely on email and doesn't rely on chance encounters in the hallway. It's very important that you make people talk to each other, and this seems to be a very good way of doing it.
Upon my initial observation, it was like, holy cow, you know, everybody is there, and my desk in particular is right on the kind of the main thoroughfare, like I-5 running down the middle of sunny Santa Monica. So, you know, I hear everybody walk by, I hear everybody's conversations. I prefer it just because, you know, I can give Steve shit, or I can give Todd Pappy shit at my left, or whatever. I mean, for that, it's kind of a nice break than just locking yourself in your office.
First coming here, I liked everything about the place except for that aspect of it, is sitting in a big, basically like a gymnasium with a bunch of desks in it, and like you could hear like half of what people are talking about all over the place, and it might be kind of hard to get focused, but it really does bring out that collaborative experience. It's in your face. You see what everybody else is doing, so you end up understanding inherently from working here and walking, you know, to go get a soda or something like that. You get an understanding subliminally of what's going on in the game.
When we want to get something in the game as simple as Kratos, the main character, goes up to a giant column in the world and grabs it, and then when the player rapidly presses the circle button, he's going to be able to like pull on it and then successfully pull the column down while the column breaks and shatters. There's enemies on top of it that end up falling and dying. Just that one sequence alone, you have to involve the level guys, because they basically have to create the space in which it takes place in. Those level guys will also be modeling the column. Animation has to wait until that column gets designed. Then effects have to get put on it. Then a designer has to put it in and attach it to the buttons. And then a sound person has to come in and attach the sounds on top of that. If any special code has to get done, meaning a tool needs to get written in order to get this to happen, code has to be notified early on. Almost every single department has their hands on this thing, and this is a thing that could, you know, basically take up a minute of gameplay.